Shalom Aleichem, peace be unto you. And today I am going to touch on a very controversial topic. It's been exposed more and more every day now, and it's known as child support. Okay, I'm going to share with you what child support is and what it's not. Okay, many people ask, is it legal, lawful, constitutional, or unconstitutional? There's a difference. Legal is a term that means when something is made by government. Okay, that's legal. Lawful is nature, natural. Okay, and is child support unconstitutional? Yes, in so many ways. And we're going to look at the many ways in which it is unconstitutional. I've seen people sometimes debating, talking about child support courts. Okay, there's no such thing as a child support court. Let me repeat, no such thing as a child support court. Why? If you look at their own codes, okay, I think it's 42 USC 654 3. It's called for a single and separate organizational unit. Single means standalone, separate means by itself. So it's single and it's separate from the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. Okay, it's housed under the executive. It's a private business. The Office of Child Support Enforcement is a private business that is umbrellaed under a state's administrative or executive branch of government. And according to the Constitution, Article 6, known as the Supremacy Clause, those of the legislative, executive, and judicial branch are bound by oath thereof. Okay, so that's the separation of powers clause right there. No one agent or officer could work in two separate branches of government at the same time. In other words, there's no jumping of the fence. Okay, so child support, Office of Child Support Enforcement, it's an administrative function. Okay, it's not a part of the court. The court is found under Article 3 of the United States Constitution. That's where we find the judicial authority. The lawmakers are found under Article 1, which is the legislative branch of the United States for America Constitution. Okay, so so it's not a part of the court. So therefore, it cannot give court orders. Okay, there's no such thing as a child support court. I've heard people sometimes talk about there's a warrant out, they're charged with contempt of court. You cannot be charged with contempt of court if something is not a court. Okay, that's a fact that cannot be proven wrong. There is no such thing as a child support contempt of court because child support is not a part of the court. Furthermore, under 45 CFR 302.34, known as the corporate agreement, okay, which is a contract where the child support agency enters into contract with state attorneys, the sheriff office, probation, the court, and so on and so forth. Now, think about that. If it was part of the court, how could the court be having contract with itself? It doesn't make any sense. If you notice all those entities that I just described, the sheriff office, probation, state attorney office, judges, etc., they all swear an oath to uphold and defend the United States Constitution. Yet every single one of them violates it for federal funding. Okay, this thing is a monster. It is unconstitutional. It is illegal, and it is worth tearing apart. So we're here tonight to disseminate information that one could use to protect themselves from this scam. Now, first of all, I must let you know we do not support people who do not take care of their children. That is not what this is all about. As a matter of fact, the child support industry, as you all know by now, they do not care about children. Okay? The children are just PR campaign that they use because it sounds good, it sounds compassionate, but they do not care about children. As a matter of fact, child support was never intended to benefit any children. And you could see this in this Supreme Court ruling of Blessings versus Freestone in 1998. But this is what happened. Five Arizona mothers sued their state, I think it was the state of Arizona, right? Social services, they sued them because they were not being paid their child support money. So the state filed a 12B motion to dismiss, which was granted. So the mothers appealed all the way to the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court came back in 1998 and ruled that child support was not intended to benefit any children or any parent. Rather, it was a system that was put in place for the secretary to use as a yardstick to monitor statewide compliance for federal funding. So that's what it's all about. It's just for the states to get reimbursement from the Fed for child support money that the states awarded in their welfare program. You have nothing to do with children, never have, never will. Another thing to we must let people know in that same case, Blessings versus Freestone, the United States Supreme Court referred to it as solicitation. Okay, it's a business. It's not a law. It is a business. And if you look under FAR, Federal Acquisition Regulation 101, it states that solicitation is a term used for business, right? Um, this program is actually a program. It's not a law, and it's supposed to be governed by contract law. Okay, one have to volunteer into it. That's how it works. You have to volunteer into it. They cannot force it upon you like what they do because all that is fraud. You cannot force any such thing upon a person because, um, blessing versus freestone, the court states and they give example that it can only be operated through contract. Okay, and 42 USC 601B states that there's no entitlement program. No one is entitled to any benefit from child support because it was never intended for that. Okay. Now, another thing. It is non-positive. It's a non-positive code. Okay. You have positive code or positive law and non-positive code. Non-positive code, what some call non-positive law, they require signature or someone to volunteer into the code for it to have some type of jurisdiction over them. If you do not volunteer in it, it doesn't have any jurisdiction over you. Why? Because there is about, I think, 54, 55 of the enacted codes, and you can find this under 1 USC 204, known as prima facie, meaning something that seems to be evidence on first glance, but require rebuttal. Okay, so it is not law. Okay, because of these codes, some are positive and some are non-positive. Now, everything under 42 USC are non-positive code, meaning one has to volunteer into it for it to have any kind of teeth over our jurisdiction over them. Okay, and child support is found under Title 4D of the Social Security Act. This is the code that houses the United States the United States Department of Health and Human Services. That's what runs Title 4D. Okay, and it's all under the 42 USC of the Social Security Act. And this act or this code is non-positive, so they cannot force you into it. It has to be done through voluntary subscription. Okay, so child support, like I said, it's easy to be defeated because it's so many violations, so many unconstitutional actions. And like I said, all one have to do is just study it and then just apply it appropriately. Okay, and all what I'm telling you, these are non-rebuttable. Okay, no one could rebut these facts because what we're doing, we're using their own laws and codes against them. Okay, when you use their own laws and codes against them, the child support industry, they cannot come back and say to you, what are you talking about? You're using their own codes against them. Okay, and that's what it is. Child support is a code. Okay, it's not a law. Like I said, the 42 USC, it was five departments. You have Title 4A, Title 4A is where we find TANF, meaning temporary aid for needy family. That's who gave out the welfare and stuff like that. Title 4B is for Child Protective Service. Title 4C was repealed. Title 4D is the collection agency or the enforcement agency for Title 4A. In other words, Title 4A loan out the money and Title 4D collects it back. Okay. Title 4E is also for children and family. Those five departments are all under the Social Security Act under Title 4. Okay, so we have A, B, C has been repealed, we have D, and we have E. None of them are positive codes, are positive law. They are all non-positive codes, so one have to um, contract into them. Okay, very, very important. So how child support work is this: they use coercion and intimidation and kind of scare people into forcing them to sign their rights away. And then once you sign your rights away, then they use those signature against you. Okay, it's all under duress, intimidation. It is wrong. It is evil. It is a monster. Can be defeated, but like I said, one have to understand the laws. Okay. And another thing with it too, again, which a lot of people don't understand, is that judges are not allowed to sit in child support hearings. Why? The Canon Code 2.2 states that judges cannot sit on cases where their biasness is suspected. Also, 28 USC 455 states that judges, magistrates, and justices must recuse themselves from any case in which their biasness is being suspected. And let me tell you this: child support, their biasness is all over the place. Why? This is how it works. Judges, magistrate, and so-called justices, they all collect their pays and their pensions from the state's coffer or the state's treasury. Now check this out. Under 42 USC 658A, as in Apple, known as the state plan, this is where the federal government matches the state. Okay, they give them they're giving them federal funding. They match them. Okay, they give them money, and then this money goes to the state treasury under 42 USC 658F, known as the reinvestment clause. So that money from the Fed goes into the state treasury. It is from the state treasury that the judges, magistrate, probation officers, etc., they all collect their pay and pension. So yes, they have a reason to be biased because they have a financial interest. So when the legislator made these codes like 28 USC 455, and what they're saying is they do not want because of monetary gain, judges, magistrates, etc., they turn a blind eye to justice. Okay, child support is nothing but it's I call them a tribunal. They're kangaroo court, if you want to use that. What is kangaroo court? Black Law Dictionary describe it as a sham affair where rights are totally disregarded and the outcome is already predetermined. So everything in child support is predetermined before you even go inside there. Why? Because the magistrate who is sitting there, the hearing officer, the commissioner, they are paid by the state to get money for the state. So it's like the fox guarding the chicken hen, from the other foxes. It doesn't make any sense. And so judges are not allowed to. And then, as a matter of fact, the Federal Manual of Child Support, it tells you plainly that the expedited process must be overseen by a person who is not a judge of the court. Okay, a judge cannot sit on child support cases. Also, magistrates. This is another problem. Magistrate and hearing officers. In the 1998 case of Holmberg versus Holmberg, the Minnesota Supreme Court states that child support is unconstitutional, right? And they give several reasons why. One, it skipped over the original jurisdiction of the federal courts. Now, what do they mean by that? Under Article 3 of the United States Constitution, certain cases, the United States Supreme Court have original jurisdiction. Original meaning they're the one who have to hear the cases first. That's what original mean. Okay. Cases like what's affecting ambassadors, private councils, state in which a party, in which the state is a party to an action, and so forth. The United States Supreme Court must have original jurisdiction. So what the framers did under the Constitution gave them the authority, the legislator, to make lower tribunals to help out with the Supreme Court caseload. These lower Supreme Courts are known as the federal courts. So what the Minnesota Supreme Court is saying that the state, they should have brought the case to the federal jurisdiction, okay? But they do not do that. They skip over that original jurisdiction. And then also they have been hearing officers practicing law on the bench because they're practicing a judicial function, but they're doing it in an administrative hearing. Okay, that separate the Constitution, that violate the Constitution. Okay, so these are the things that some of the other reasons that make this child support thing unconstitutional. Okay, it is a monster. I've seen a lot of people, their family have been destroyed by it. A lot of men committed suicide because of it, because it drains them, it strained them, it took away their license, it took away all their ability to function. They do not know their rights, they do not know what to do. And a lot of them ended up sometimes killing themselves or sometimes killing even their baby mother and themselves. It doesn't have to be like that. That's why we're here to tell people that there's hope. Like we said, when people have children, they should take care of their children. The problem we have with this child support thing that we attack is that the system does not care about family. They're not doing it because they care about families. They're doing it because they want that federal funding. Okay, that's what it's all about. And they're using the children and the family as a scapegoat, as a scapegoat. But they do not care about the children and families. Child support is unconstitutional. Another thing too that makes it also unconstitutional, it also trigger off what is known as under Article 1 of the United States Constitution, it's a bill of attainder. What is a bill of attainder? A bill of attainder is forbidden under Article 1 of the United States Constitution, and a bill of attainder states clearly, in layman's term, punishment without a regular trial. And if you look at child support, there's no juries involved. Why? Under the Constitution, under Article 7, okay, where it starts about in suits of controversy of $20 or more, the right of trial by a jury shall be preserved. So any type of controversy that requires more than $20, the litigants have a right to a trial by jury. Now, child support, there's more than $20 involved. So there should be a trial by jury, but no, they skip over that because the whole process is unconstitutional. And by them even skipping over that, it makes their ruling non and void because there's many case laws that states that the court, the tribunal, even if it was a real court, which it's not, it loses jurisdiction once it violates the Constitution. Okay, plain and simple. Another thing to with child support is, the hearing officers, a lot of them are not, like I said, they are not supposed to be doing it. And a lot of them who do it, they're not even qualified to do it. Okay? It's a monster, it's a multi-billion-dollar monster. And like I say, it's not there to help the children and families. Not at all. All right, so if you want any information, if you need help, any type of help at all, we have like a booklet that everything that you need to know about child support, everything that you need to know, it's included. And just hit us up. Our email is at the bottom, and we could help you. Okay, so until then, Shalom Aleichem, and I am so glad to tell. Peace.